Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Small Business 101 here on Arbeit.
Yes, we got a good one today, right? Emily did a great job booking our guest today. Joined today by one of the co-founders of Thimble. You can see him below, Oscar Pedroso. Thanks so much for coming. I really appreciate this, or we really appreciate this.
Anytime, thank you. It's great to be here.
Yeah, thanks. So I guess start off by telling us a little about Thimble.io.
Sure. So my name is Oscar, and Thimble is an online academy that teaches kids robotics, programming, and hardware. And we do that through virtual courses, and then we deliver the physical projects for you to build. So it could be projects that we send to your house to build with your family, or projects that we send to a school so that technology teachers can build these projects from start to finish with their students.
That's such a great concept. How did you come up with that?
Well, it took many endless nights over beer to figure that one out. But it
As all great ideas do, yeah.
Most of my background's in education. So when I was at University of Rochester, which is where I went to school, I worked in the admissions office part-time. So I started off as a tour guide, and then I got involved reading applications and recruiting students.
Okay.
And this was in the engineering school, and then I was part of building the campus makerspace from the ground up with a group of other students. And so we did a lot of work on campus with engineering students, but we also did a lot of volunteer work with some of the inner city schools. Yeah. So we worked with schools that didn't really have access to a lot of the resources we had on campus. And so, I met really awesome kids who just aspired to be technologists and engineers, but just didn't have the wherewithal to accomplish that. And so, that was like the first seed in the back of my mind that there was something here that I needed to solve, but wasn't ready yet. But I did start getting the entrepreneurial itch, so I started a tutoring business, was helping students study for the SATs, and then I later helped college students study for the GREs. Okay. And that turned into an application consulting business, so I was helping students figure out a strategy when they were applying to school. And that was just me. And eventually I just wanted something a little bigger than myself. I always envisioned working with a team, and I also wanted to create a greater impact. So I started my first startup, which was GradFly, which was like online project journals for engineers, so they could show off their stuff. And that was a higher ed play, which ended up failing, but it was the very beginnings of what Thimble would become.
Really?
That's cool.
That's a cool story. Out of curiosity, what was your major in college?
I was a math and economics major.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. Oh, that's an awesome story.
So for is it for who uses Thimble? I mean, it's what age group? All age groups, kids?
Yeah, I would say ages 10 and up, so right around 4th, 5th grade. We also have high school, college students, and adults using it as well. We've also had senior citizens in nursing home use our kit to keep their minds sharp.
That's cool.
But it originally launched as a product for homeschool families, just to serve as a supplement for education not being taught in school, particularly around coding and robotics. And so, a lot of parents want to get their kids into technology at a young age, but just don't know where to start. So we fill in that void there. So then that was when we launched out of the Kickstarter, we were primarily serving hobbyists and homeschool families. But then we later found out that a lot of our customers identify as parents and educators. So we've always had this different buckets of customers that spans anywhere from homeschool to people working on these projects at home to students working on these in the classroom.
Out of curiosity, when you first started, what did you intend it to be? Like, did you intend to focus on one of those, and you discovered all these different applications for it? Oh, you said homeschool, right? You said homeschool.
Yeah, we didn't really put our finger on who our target customer was at the time. All we knew was that we would be delivering a box every month, and you would get a different project in the mail, and all the instructions were video tutorials on our learning portal, and that people would just love receiving stuff every month. And
that's true.
We thought, this would fit in nicely with teachers in schools, but we thought that was more down the line than working on it right out of the Kickstarter.
Yeah. What's been the biggest hurdle with getting this off the ground?
Well, I think one of the biggest challenges we had in the beginning was being in the subscription box world to begin with, because you are forced to come up with something new every month. now, like in the world of subscription boxes, if you're delivering, I don't know, cigars, candy, you know, it's easy to put that in a box, but to put a robotics project with all the content you need to build it and hash that out every month, that's very challenging because that comes with, you know, you got to account for the design process, testing, manufacturing, the lead times that come with that, and then just creating beginner-friendly instructions that a 2-year-old can understand.
Yeah.
So, you know, that was probably one of the most challenging things, and we couldn't deliver every month because of that. So, you know, that was always a disappointing newsletter we'd send out saying, hey, we're not ready to ship out yet.
Oh God, yeah.
But we had people who supported us. I think the key there was just communicating what was happening, and you know, we some customers got upset, but you know, that's just one of the clutches of being a startup is you can't get everything right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Not all the time, at least, right?
So what was it like? I mean, getting into that market in the beginning. I mean, it was kind of. Is there anything else necessarily directly like this? Or?
Well, there is for sure. You know, there are a lot of what you would consider toys, STEM toys, to get kids interested in technology. But what we saw is that there really wasn't anything teaching you difficult technology skills that border on electrical, computer, mechanical engineering type skills. And so everybody sort of tiptoes around it, but no one really addresses it because it's hard. And so we have this ambitious goal of teaching college level material within 3 years or less. You know, we're not going to grant you an engineering degree by any means, but we think that a lot of those concepts introduced in college can be taught in very easier concepts in the beginning. And so, you know, that's how we've gone about it. Is we're like the middle school to high school, like learn real skills and use real tools that engineers actually use in day-to-day careers.
That's good for you. It's a cool concept.
So, I mean, I guess we probably understand this, but for anyone watching, like, why is it so important for the kids to be exposed to technology at that young age?
The kids.
Yeah. I would use myself as an example. I mean, I didn't really know what engineering was until my freshman year in college, which is really sad because, you know, I took all the sciences in high school and I was a pretty good student. But then when I found out my roommate was an optics engineer, I was like, what is that?
Yeah.
Why don't I know about that? And so, you know, I felt like growing up, my parents only talked about careers in medicine, business, and law. And there wasn't really anything outside of that. And so it was too late for me to decide to be an engineer, although it would have been great. I took some mechanical engineering courses, but I didn't take enough classes to get a minor or major in it. But the cool thing was I was able to teach myself how to code just using my math skills, just from being a math major. But I think it's important for students to be able to know a lot of what all these different industries and careers can do, and to be aware that there are a ton of jobs out there that don't exist quite yet, but will in the next few years. And that it's important they start just understanding what those is, and they should give themselves an option to even consider whether they want to go down that path. I didn't really have that choice until much later. I probably still could have figured it out, but you know, I had already made up my mind that I would be the math and econ major.
Clearly it worked, right? It worked out for you in the long run.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, here I am trying to create an opportunity for kids to, at an early age, to figure that out, which is great. I'm always impressed whenever I go to a show and I meet a kindergartner who can point out a component and its serial number by heart. I'm like, how do you know that?
I got a little cousin, and it's like he's smarter than me, and he's like 4. I'm like, I'm this.
That's not hard.
Yeah, these people are gonna put me out of work. Like, it's incredible. So
Yeah.
I wish I had that skill set at 4.
Cool. So what would be some advice that you would give to any young entrepreneurs today, or anybody looking to start their own company, whether not in this space, just in general?
Well, you know, starting a business is not for the faint. I think if you have an idea and you want to turn it into a business, great. What you start off with is not going to be what you end up with months down the line or even years down the line. So there's a lot of patience, resilience needed. You're gonna make a lot of mistakes, and you just need to have a really strong mind and heart to deal with it, because it gets hard and frustrating, and sometimes you want to give up. But you know, it's for me, it's not an option. And I think I'm wired that way. I think we're all wired differently. Even entrepreneurs I've seen type A's and type B type entrepreneurs, but I know the one thing we have in common is that we're in there to fight the good fight, and we're learning constantly, talking to as many customers or potential customers as possible. Because that's definitely important too, is having the ideas for the innovation, but making sure that you are staying informed with what the market has to say, because they're the ones ultimately that are going to decide whether they pay for your product or not.
Yeah, that's great advice.
Yeah, that is great advice. Kids at home watching, this is what you do.
I know, yeah, seriously.
All right. Thanks so much, Oscar. That was awesome.
That was a good one.
Where can people get in touch with you if they want?
To learn more?
Yeah, they want to learn more.
Yeah, they can check us out at www.thimble.io. And then if they have any questions, they can email me at oscar@thimble.io.
We will link all that below.
Cool.
And yeah, thanks so much.
Yeah, Oscar, thanks for doing this. We really appreciate it. So thanks.
We should order one of these boxes.
Yeah, let's do. That's actually a great idea. We'll do that. All right.
What was it? I missed it. What was that?
I said we should order one of these boxes.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
It'll take me forever to do with this, but yes, I'll make sure we do this when we get off the call.
Team bonding event. Everyone can try and put
that's a
together
great idea. That's a great call. Good thinking. Cool. All right. Well, you got
have a couple of beers while you're building it, and then see where you get.
It'll be nice to have something to do while I'm drinking beer. So, thanks for doing this. You just got a customer out of this, so good work.
Yeah.
Worked out really well. Yeah. And as always, we will see you guys next week.
See you next week.
Thanks.